And hello, how are you guys doing? It's been a minute, but I've been on other channels. That's how come. So that's why I kind of hopped on today. It's late for me. It's 5:20 on in Central Time, which doesn't seem very late, but man alive, we are Nixie and I are early folks. So this is I do better in the morning, and that's why I've got most of my live streams in the morning. But it's been a minute. It has been a minute. And so I figure I owe this audience, especially since it's my first audience, right? Um, and I needed to give you guys an update. So I've been hard at work. I've been working on all kinds of stuff. So, initially was going to be the only channel. Then it split into 6 channels. So as they say, it takes 8 months plus change, almost like a pregnancy, right? That's what I kind of look at this. It's like it's an adventure, but it really won't get going probably until we're into the 9th month or so, and things become real. So I figured if I have to wait that long, I might as well do six at once. Get it all get um, that initial period over with on all of them, and that way it's easier for me to think my thoughts. And it's also yeah, easier for me to think of my thoughts and batch things. It also came to me, I was going to drop a video last week because I needed to tell you guys some things, but they were going to be hard things. So I wanted to figure out how to do that. Um, you know, and the reason why I say this is, and the first thing I want to do is downplay it, right? Oh, it's not that bad. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a channel in this. So on this channel, there's going to be another playlist, and it's going to have my normal for what I've been kind of branding this channel with, but it's going to say trigger warning, and those are going to be for some of the more difficult conversations, because you guys are gonna ask. If not now, you're going to ask later. So I'm going to be putting that in there, and not that when you're YouTube when you're YouTube, you're putting your life out there. You get to choose how much of your life you want out there, right? A lot of my life has been about being quiet to protect everybody else, and this is a time where I get to, come and be who I am. Uh, I'm I'm still protecting everybody, right? I'm still apologizing and protecting everybody for being um, not so great to me, right? In certain areas. Now, like I have a hopefully I have a positive. Uh, I try to be positive, and I try to see the joy in everything, even in the difficulty. So you're going to see a lot of that throughout my channels. It's going to be predominantly my sunny disposition, the sunny side up, right? Um, but there is the shadow, which makes that makes that contrast, that makes it real, right? I'm gonna the reason why I put this up here too. Let me come in, because and they've had some updates on this too. They've actually, well, shoots, they've actually made it so we've got more flexibility. It's just all of this stuff is a learning curve for me, and because it's going to just take me a minute. It's going to take you guys a minute to come in here. It's going to take me a minute to get all of my my things down. It's going to take a minute, and that's fine. That's how it should be. Oh, that's why I can't see because I don't have my glasses on. There's a thought. But as far as things that are hard for me, I've hinted on this with some other of the reason why is because they need cleaning now, don't they? The reason why I'm hinting at what I need to get done, because I'm heading into another birthday. It's not a huge milestone. It means I could, if I needed to, start Social Security on that level. So it's there. Um, but what's happening is things that I have pushed aside so everything else could get moved forward. Uh, uh, I can't do it anymore. There comes there comes a time where you just can't fix everything for everybody and make and take up the slack in between. There is a point where even me, and you'll hear some stories of, you'll hear some of these interesting stories that I've had to do to try to make things fit that God knows how I did it. God knows how I did it. And so more of that is going to be in the trigger warning thing because we're going to talk about abuse. We're going to talk about, doing things. I have to have, and this is 40 some odd years in the making because I had my jaw broken and every tooth in my head was hairline fractured, right? So those are the kind of stories that I want to put on the trigger warning thing. But you guys are going to know about it because because it's come to where I have pushed everything so far back that I now have to address some of that old stuff, right? We do. We can't wish it away. I mean, I could wish that people acted differently than they did or circumstances weren't what they were. I can try to fix as much as I can, but at some point we have to face up to it and say, okay, this is my story. I love everybody involved. People did not make the best decisions for themselves or for me. And I'm trying the best I can to juggle with how to go forward with that, knowing that I can't kick it down the road any longer, right? You don't have the resiliency that you did. So as I start this YouTube channel, I literally, I've been dealing with these dental issues, like I said, since 1978. And I have been patching it up ever since. The minute I get to where I'm on video doing this, I have a tooth that broke off, right? And it's one that I've been trying to have fixed for a long time, but they can't fix it anymore, right? And that's such a metaphor for what I'm talking about. When you try to push things off or fix things or patch things up, but you can't until you get to the literal and metaphorical root of the problem, pun intended, or that's the issue. So you have things that look okay superficially, but are not going to be okay until you really get down. And if you're going to make a mess of things, I'm valuing the hot mess. If you're going to make a mess of things, you might as well do it right. You might as well, instead of really, before I was patching it just so I didn't have to, because there's so many other things that I thought were more important at the time. Can we just get through the other things and then I'll come back and deal with it? Well, how long has that been since I've been able to address some of the things that have happened to me? And yeah, so those discussions are going to get quite real. On the brighter side, because that's not where we're at here. There was no trigger warning on this video, and this is not going to live in that playlist that says trigger warning on it. You will be totally forewarned on that. So I want to make sure that as I'm doing what I need to do for myself, that I'm not putting you at risk, because we all can relate on some level, and I don't want to trigger somebody. I want them to understand as they come in that this is what's going to be discussed. So that's as clear as I can be, as good as I can take care of myself, and also take care of you in my audience. So that's kind of how I've decided to play that. And a lot of these things, I don't know how to play it until I start doing it. So much of what I'm doing here on YouTube is a matter of me just getting in there and doing it, so then I can kind of figure things out as we go, because that's how it is. You can kind of imagine things in your brain, but until you start putting them to action, and it becomes manifest, you really don't know what you're dealing with. But what I spent this weekend on, one of the things is we have finally, drum roll please, we have all the channels up and live. So if you, I can't, I'm gonna, well, shoots. We do have them all up and live. Now I'm gonna go in because I wasn't thinking I was gonna do this, but here I am doing this. I was gonna, which I am. I'm gonna go to the regular. I'm gonna show you a screen. I'm gonna share a screen, but I just need to get it up here of the channel that we're looking at right now, so I can show you, demonstrate to you what I'm talking about. Oh my, my, my. See, this is what happens when I get to go live this late at night. I am so much a better morning person. I am so better in the morning. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to share my screen. Share screen. And right there. Share screen. Okay, so what this is this is a screenshot of the channel that we're on right now, the Startlingly Yours channel. And it should be kind of familiar to you by now, although I mean, this has gone through how many changes in the last 2 months, right? It has gone through quite a bit. And here we got the 47 videos that we've got it right now. And this is live right now. So that's why it's right there, because we're live right now. And I'm going to bring this up. It may kind of glitch because we're live right now. And then it's going to go with the vlog, Startlingly True. And then we're going to have past live streams. There's going to be another one here, though, that's going to have the trigger warning on there. This Ilieta family testing ground, that's because what I realized after I got going on this, because you don't know until you get going on it, is that I can only, for each phone number, and I've got two. For each phone number, I can only verify 2 YouTube channels fully every year. So I've got 6 channels. That means 4 of them are covered and 2 of them aren't. And I'm not going to bother getting another phone number. I'll just wait for the 2 years. But because I'm waiting for the 2 years, some of the other channels I'll probably go live here, and then put then I can edit and post over there. Because the other thing is, they've got because they're not verified, they have to be less than 15 minutes long. So there's a lot of the stuff you just don't know till you start doing it, and then it changes, right? Things just kind of change on you, like the podcast element. That was something that changed midstream. So who knew about that? So these are our Ilieta media families. There are 6 channels. Which one is missing here? I need to put it on there. It is, no, that's 6. Hello, 6. I can count 6. Normally it shows 5, but yeah, we got 6 right there. So because I'm probably on my tablet, that's probably why. So you can see me, and what I have decided is that this Startlingly True is kind of our memoir, vlogging, and just loving of literature, story time kind of a thing. But it's more of it's more of a memoir thing for me. This is very personal to me. This is my personal channel. The Oswego Files is more of that's history that I shared with my family in Kendall County, Illinois. And when my parents passed, and I have all these boxes of stuff, it's not really me. It's not really me. What it is it's it belongs to the other folks. That's the other folks is it's more of what they experienced of me and my family rather than how I experienced it. Right. And there's a huge difference in that. And then again, I'm trying to protect. So I'm honoring each of the different areas with that. The words at work, that kind of, love me some puns. So the words at work and the words at work. It's more of the blogging and publishing and, words at work. Very, very nonfiction. Right? But businessy nonfiction, right? The Wake Up Winona, I'm so excited about that. And that is my newest daily podcast at 6:00 in the morning. So when I say it's late for me right now, that thing starts at 6 in the morning. So that means I am up and showered and ready to smell my coffee at 6 a.m. But that is so near and dear to my heart because I have a passion for public engagement. I think it's really important for us to talk to everybody, no matter what, to love everybody, no matter what. We need to be talking to each other, and there's not a whole lot of space for us to do that. And we need to talk to each other before there's a problem. We need to be able to celebrate with each other the things that we have in common and share with each other the things that are going on in our neighborhood. Right? This is local, local, local. But really, right now, I've got the people who are, and I'm just now starting it, but the people that were most excited with me about this are people that I know from other communities that I've lived in and been very active in community activities with them as well. And they're like, oh, I said, I know. Who knew that this was out there and how cool this, because it's interactive. When you go live like this, you can have people come on. When people come and they give you when they have the comments, when they make the comments, you can bring them in on the comments. You can have them as co-hosts. They can send you video. They can send you a Google slide, and you can put that in there. It's so wonderfully interactive. And of course, one of the things that I truly love is to do interviews. Right? I love interviews because I want to know what people think. That's one of the reasons why I love to read so much. All kinds fiction, nonfiction, creative nonfiction. And when people tell me, oh, they only read nonfiction because, fiction is made up. And I'm like, oh, because you don't know Emily Dickinson. you know, tell the truth, but tell it slant. Or Oscar Wilde. If you tell the truth, make them laugh. Otherwise, they'll kill you. Right? Some of the biggest truths are in fiction. Because that's the only way you can tell. It's the only way the message gets through on that level. Because it's too harsh any other way, right? It's just too. It's one of those things. A lot of the really good things in life are like hard candies, where you gotta hold them in your mouth for a while. You gotta have those flavors kind of come out and sing to you, right? And to me, that's what this that's I just get so excited about this one. I get excited about all of them. I will get excited about all of them. I was with Kazemi Connections. Fun fact, I was a triple threat, actually more than triple threat. But by the time I graduated, after 1,000 things, and we'll go down to the the trauma warning for a lot of the discussion of that. But by the time I graduated, I could have graduated with like 5 different degrees. But what I chose was at that point in that place is to take my linguistics, my anthropology of language, or linguistic anthropology, and my philosophy of language uh, into a cohesive unit. And really, that's the Kazemi Connections. The through line is astrology, because it used to be astrology was the biggest thing that you learned. It's the whole reason for having a university system. And then it was erased. And what did we lose? And I'm not talking, what's your sign, what's your major? I am not talking, a lot of the, things that you'll see on in the pop culture part of astrology. I don't want to degrade it either, right? I believe that anybody who is seeking knowledge in and faith in any religion, in any pursuit, I'm not gonna say that, oh well, that's not as good as this or whatever. That's different than the history of it. And what this channel is more the history of it, looking at the cross-cultural exchange between China and India, and the Ionian philosophers, which became, the Greek philosophers, but Hellenistic or whatever, with the oldest, which is in Afghanistan. Man, there is so much of our cultural history from northern Afghanistan that is just like totally written out of any history books, and that's something that I had been studying for 40 some odd years, right? I had a teacher, a college professor, who said, "Lori, you need to study Bactria, the Bactrian civilization." And that was I don't believe the Russians had invaded Afghanistan yet, right? That's how long that's how long as came from a background of the anthropology, the archaeology, and the interest in those trade routes and the exchange of culture. So that's really where I come from. But also the practice of astrology, because that was so integral in that cultural transmission. You have to understand it to understand any of it, right? So that's what you're going to find there. So it's not your Sydney Omar, the back of the whatever. I don't do sun sign astrology. I don't. Um, and there's some wonderful people who do. I just don't. That's not what you'll find there. So I'm just trying to manage your expectations. And I don't know a thing about the asteroids. Anything like new like that is harder for me. I want to figure out what they were doing because I'm interested in the cultural exchange and what they thought of as the basic philosophy. I'm a philosophy major and died in my soul. Right. That's it. Okay. And then we've got Chicory Chicks, which we started over here. And actually we started, and I've told this story before too. It started when I was finishing up that darn degree that took me forever to finish. And I'd taken a whole summer creative writing course, and I did a whole thing on a series of short stories based on two women who inherit a bunch of properties and a bunch of memorabilia that are in these properties in a town that they have vague memories of as children playing, going and seeing elderly folks when they were really tiny, and they reconnect and they go through quite a lot, quite prescient, because that's what I'm doing. I'm going through boxes of things of relatives that I have a memory of or I heard of, but maybe not even know, and then trying to figure out and piece all the mysteries together. And I bet you I'm not alone. I lost over 20 people in a 12-month period, 2020, 2021. And that may seem crazily large, but I know I'm not alone, right? I know we've had a whole lot of losses in the last 2-3 years. And so I think there's a lot of and that's what literature to me is for, and that's what this is. It started as the short stories, and then it became with Twitter. When Twitter had Storify, it was a way for me to do um, writing prompts. So this is more fiction. So we're talking short story, fiction writing prompts. What I do, and you've seen me do it, if you look down below, you'll see the coffee clutch. It's take 10 at 10. So we look at a quote from a famous, you know, person. Yeah, most of them are authors. For March, we're going to do a whole thing on poetry for National Poetry Month. For February, I had to scramble to pick out some Black voices because they're just all mixed in there. I had to go hunting through to find them, and I had already had these thumbnails done, between 5 and 7 years ago for the Twitter stuff, and I found my template, so I can create more. So that's not going to go away anytime soon. It's just it's too much. It's too much fun, and there's too much potential to connect on that score. What I want to do is start adding after I get we've got all the channels up now. That was, woohoo, that's the first, not even, most of these channels are only a week or two old. And now we're going to go and say, okay, this is the kind of content, create that content calendar for them, and what it is that the different audiences have in common, how they overlap, and how they are distinctly different. And the first thing that I wanted to do is come out with that really small, not short excuse me, not short shorts. We haven't gone there yet. We will, it's coming, and I've got some things prepared for the short shorts. But what I'm talking about is more like the 10-minute videos, right? The 10-minute videos. I can do those on any of those channels. Ah, we got people. Oh, hi. We got Laura Lee. See, this is how this goes. Is this not cool? I can show you. See? Laura Lee. Haha, I inherited the memorabilia of my ancestors, but the property, family farm, blah, blah, is still in control of the patriarch. Nice to see you, Lori. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes. But see how fun is that? That we can bring you in and share your story in with mine. This format is just, to me, is highly exciting. Thank you, Lori. And I think I know you in real life. I think I know who that is. But if you're signed in on YouTube or on Facebook, I can do that. How wonderful is that, right? What I was going to show you today was the fact that what I've got, because I love interviews, right? I love to be able to bring people in, whether they're in the comment stream or co-hosts or uh, uh, I think I know you too. All righty. Um, and and uh, and one of the things I really love is, aside from the small 10-minute bits, they're easy to, they're like Skittles. You can just kind of eat them in a whole playlist. You can just put the playlist on if you wanted to. I like more, because my old community radio days, I wanted to do more of the interviews. And I found the old Proust questionnaire. And I don't know how many of you, I know if Lori is who I think Lori is, and she probably definitely knows who Proust is and about the questionnaire. And Proust may not have invented the parlor game of the 21 questions, but he did a whole lot to popularize it. And so it's kind of a standard thing. I copied down the standard version for here. But then what we can do as a community is we can come up with different versions. And so for each of our channels, I'm thinking that there are people that fit each of these channels in my life that I want to bring to you and have that interaction, so we can have a good, I've got lots of good friends who are writers, so would love to have some writers on and show you their books, and you can ask the author interviews. But I also want to have community interviews and people talking about whatever they're passionate about. And you don't have to have a PhD, but I love me some PhDs. So if you're a PhD out there, because I live in a town where there's 3 colleges, that I would love to have folks on that and talk to their lay audience, to their neighbors, about what they do and why they think it's so wonderfully important. Which I love that, and I love the fact that we can break down some walls and some silos, right? And be able to have these discussions. And so that's what I did this weekend, is I created the Proust questionnaires that are branded for us here. But yeah, so that's kind of what I got in store here. That's the update, and that's a little bit of a teaser. But yes, the next thing that I'll probably do, and I'm going to do it when I have a little bit more brain cells, because it's exhausting. It gets exhausting dealing with stuff that is hard. It's hard to deal with stuff. And sometimes you just have to deal with it. And that's what that's for. But I need to be fresher. I need to do it earlier in the day, because this is definitely too late for me if I'm starting in at 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, well, I promise to be updating you guys at least once a week, so probably Mondays or Tuesdays, with this sort of a vlog. And then what I want to do here also is to do some of the aside from the trigger warnings got to come because of the stuff, But there's another playlist down there that I'm excited about, and that is looking at literature. And maybe doing some reading of stories that I write, or just stories that are in public domain, because people forget about things like Emily Dickinson and her wonderful poetry, which is totally in it's part of our. You never read Proust? Oh, the Proust is a thing unto its himself. Oh my goodness. Um, it's like a whole. There's so many volumes, right? there's yeah, there's so many volumes, but I think of him with his Tisane and uh, his Madeline's dunking and talking about memories and things past and how that informs who he is today. And that's how it informs all of us. Yeah, definitely. There's so many wonderful things to read out there. And yes to Emily. Yeah, yes to Emily. I agree. So I want to take some of those old gems that maybe are not in the canon anymore and kind of reintroduce it so we can talk about that and just give another platform to voices and thoughts that I think need to not be forgotten, right? All right. Well, thank you, Lori, for coming. And hopefully that encourages other folks to come too. And we'll see you next week on the vlog, but I'll be dropping a few more things in between. So hit the bell if you want to be notified next time I go live. All right. Thank you so much. Bye bye.